What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lamont Pierre from Arthouse Digital, and I am here tonight with the cast of A Beautiful Cruel Thing. All right. Say what's up, you guys. Let's start with Jovanni. Jovanni, what's your name? Who do you play?
You just said my name. What's up, y'all? This is Jovanni Cologne, and I play CHAD in The Beautiful Cruel Thing.
Work with me, okay? Um,
What's your name? What do you do?
Rico, Rico, what's
I
your
play.
name?
Crazy.
Rico, what's your name? Who do you play?
Crazy. Hey, everybody, it's Rico Milan here. I play Myron.
All right, all right. So tonight we wanted to, or I don't know if you guys know, you may or may not know, but we just launched season 2 of the series, meaning episode season 1 is a wrap. So tonight we wanted to take you through season 1, just kind of do a little recap for you guys with the cast and kind of, just talk about, how we feel about season 1 episodes. All right, y'all ready to do that tonight?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Okay, okay. All right, so we kicked off the season in Miami. Okay. And of course, we've been following CHAD and MYRON on their kind of tumultuous, relationship journey, dealing with MYRON's illness and how it affects their day to day. So we start the season off in Miami. We actually, the first 2 episodes are Miami episodes. So questions that I have for y'all is, what do you guys remember about filming those first 2 episodes? Because it's been some time now. What do y'all remember?
What has it been, like 3 years, 4 years?
Like
How many
3
years has it
years,
been?
almost 4 years.
3.5.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Wow.
You want to go first? Go ahead.
Go for it. Well, no, I'll go ahead. I think for me, it was just trying to figure out how it was going to come together after what we went through with Freefall and what that looked like. Kind of just navigating that space and also,
Wait,
I
wait, wait,
guess,
wait, wait, wait,
showing
wait, whoa, whoa,
the
whoa.
independent.
Let me.
Go ahead.
Lamont gonna dig for it. Come on, dig on down.
Of course,
Let me
of
get this
course,
here.
of
Try to
course.
explain to the fans, what do
Let
you
me.
mean by what we went through with Freefall? What do you break that down? What are you talking about? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, A Beautiful Cruel Thing is not the origin of Myron and Chad's relationship. So, I mean, there's a backstory that we are familiar with. I mean, the fans from Freefall would absolutely understand it.
You mean
But
what
with
Myron
this
and
baby,
Chad went through in Freefall?
like, of course, like how their relationship came to be,
Right.
and then
Okay.
where and how and what that spinoff would look like.
Right.
I think coming into A Beautiful Cruel Thing, it was just figuring out how to have that level of connectivity, if you will, and still be something new and fresh. And yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm gonna pivot to Giovanni. You got to still
Okay.
answer the question. Okay. As far as what y'all remember about filming those first 2 episodes.
Okay. So I remember rapping with Freefall, so that was important because that was a big chunk of our lives, and we told such a compelling story. And so me and Myron's character had such good chemistry, and we didn't want that story to end, basically. So we wanted to give another compelling story, but something that has like never been seen. There's so many different types of web series out, and they show, I
Right.
guess, gay relationships in a negative light. We wanted to have a challenge and tell a story of about a challenge, but what the challenge would be wouldn't be the relationship between me and my partner. And I thought that was really
Right.
refreshing. That's why I was so excited about being able to tell the story, because, like you said, every day we see drama, and in the drama that we see, it wasn't between me and who I was dating. It was me and the things that were going on in my life and the things that were going on in my partner's life. So I was just really excited to be able to tell that story. And when we pick up A Beautiful Cruel Thing, um, we are already transplanted. We already moved. We already found out that my partner has this terminal issue. we already pick up where financial problems. So like we skip a whole portion of life, and we leave that for the viewer to realize. You know, we're telling the story midway through the story, which was I thought was amazing as well.
We jumped ahead some from where we left in Free Fall. Maybe jumped ahead, I don't know, a few months.
Yeah.
And then the story starts when CHAD and MYRON find out about Myron's illness. And then they start adjusting to what that means for their life. And that's how we kick off The Beautiful Cruel Thing, right?
Exactly.
Right. So what do y'all remember about shooting those episodes, those first 2 episodes? Because didn't we shoot?
We actually shot the trailers first.
We shot a promo first.
We shot a promo, which we came back
into a month later or something,
and shot the actual episode,
the show. And how long were we down there that time? The first official.
We were down there for.
Was it like 3 days, 3 or 4 days?
Are we talking about the first? Yeah, I think we're down there for an entire weekend, maybe Friday to Monday.
Okay, a Friday to a Monday.
Yeah.
So what do y'all remember about that first shoot? Anything interesting? Anything special?
What do I remember about the first shoot? It was us.
Why y'all laughing?
No, it was fun. It was a good time. No, the first shoot. I remember.
Right.
I remember the home that was supposed to be our home.
Our home.
Which I liked.
That was.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. It was the location. Nice. I remember the crew. I remember having crew there. Carla was there with us.
Carla was
with us.
We had crew. Yeah. I remember us really trying to get Rico to understand that he has cancer. We needed you to cough stronger. Remember that, friend? You did not like to. He still doesn't like to cough.
He doesn't like to
at all.
You're about to.
Which he has that.
I don't know. Yeah, you haven't coughed up blood. No, what I remember is that we just really went into it like wanting to make sure this story that we tell was a convincing story, was a believable story, and that there was no limits to what we would give to you as the audience. We really wanted you guys to believe, and we hope you still do believe that, you know, we're really going through it, but we are trying to make love win, and love will win, you know, if you're with the right person. So it's like you said, I feel like it was a good time. I remember just being on set day in, and day out, and yeah, we just had a good time. Me and Rico really got to just really know each other and let our guards down, and it was no limits to what we would give to the story.
Before we go to Rico, what Rico remembers about that weekend of filming, what do you guys feel was the, like, energy wise, maybe chemistry wise, the biggest shift going from Free Fall into A Beautiful Cruel Thing? Because I feel like it just felt different filming this show than Free Fall had ever felt, but maybe that's just me. What do y'all think about that?
I think for me, it was just the fact that, I mean, there were no other people. So there's no other cast. It was just us, like 24/7 when it comes to what we were shooting and everything, like at all times. And so it was wearing what what was there to bring to that, and what would that look like? I think it was definitely a major shift from what we did with Free Fall, where we kind of had scenes and, you know, we made it work. But with this, there was a new level of depth, if you will, for both characters, and transparency, if that's a good word, into what we were going through individually and together.
Yeah. What about you? Yo,
I remember we were shooting this first episode, and it was fun. It was games, you know, it was acting. But I remember that ending scene. from the episode. I think we shot that maybe on one of the first nights. You know,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily shoot in order, and that just made the story just so much more real for me. You
Right.
know, just really just my heart melted when I
I remember
saw
shooting that
him.
scene too.
Hmm?
I remember shooting that scene too that night. It was late.
Yeah, it
It
was
was very
like three
late.
o'clock in the morning. We
It
was
was
up
very late.
midnight oil,
And you
and
both had to
Rico.
kind of like get in a space to be emotional in that scene,
Hmm.
um yeah, I would actually probably agree that that's what that scene, shooting that scene, really kind of brought home the story that we were about to like
What
really.
we doing?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
it
what I
did.
will say is that the opening segment was different for me because we're normally not taught to look directly at the camera and
Oh
tell a
yeah,
story.
a
So
little
that was an adjustment. We had never done that in free fall, and
breaking
so
the
we
Right.
were,
fourth wall.
yeah, we're talking the whole
Hmm.
behind the scene footage of us being a couple, and like we're making this video document so that we can watch in a later date of us and our travels.
Yeah,
So that was an adjustment, being able to like look dead in the camera and tell the story as if we're telling it to ourselves later on.
yeah,
So
Right. I think that even just to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, the concept of a docu series, if you will, was kind of like what does that mean? It's like where are we going with this?
that's
And
that's fiction.
right,
mhm.
Yeah,
right. But just the concept of us even being able to tell our stories, and then be back in character, if you will, or at least kind of envisioning what those moments were like for the characters was an interesting experience. I remember when you would ask us those questions. We was just kind of sitting up there and you would, so what else have you all not talked about? Or what have you not? It was like,
Mhm.
what? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, and just trying to come up with just some of the things for Myron and Chad, what they were experiencing, um, what may possibly have been carried over in terms of feelings or just some residuals, and where and what they would do with that was an experience and experiment in itself.
at what point did you guys realize that the story was going to rely on um a certain level of depth that maybe we didn't have to go to in the free fall version of the characters? Was there like a moment or a scene or whatever where you felt like, oh, like this is going, you know, it's going there.
For me, like you said, this is my first time, being I guess a principal character in a show. I've always had, but to have the whole show about leads, being a 100% lead in the show. When I realized it was like when cut was over with one scene, it was ready to go into another scene and transfer the energy or whatever Chad was going through in that moment. And it was different. It was absolutely different. We usually when free fall, we
Yeah.
shoot our scenes and then we come back on set 10 hours later.
Hmm.
We break for lunch, craft service, whatever, and
Or
then
the
we come
next
back
day or whatever.
next
Right.
day, next day. When it was cut, 30 minutes, you know, new wardrobe, let's get back on set, lights, camera, action, a whole different attitude, a whole different mentality.
All
Chad
of
is
it.
happy. I was like, this
Right.
is really pushing me as far as an actor
Actor.
to like really try to flex my muscles.
Because
Um,
you are carrying the show.
hmm
Like it being a two-man show, you two guys are carrying the entire show. The
the
show has
show.
no supporting characters. It doesn't have any other characters, to
Right.
be honest with you, on
Hmm.
purpose, And
Hmm.
so the whole setup of the show is that it's this insular world. These two characters, we only see their world, how they kind of see it. We don't even
Hmm.
see anybody else that may be in their world. It's just this kind
I think it makes the
of
show
world.
so much more powerful because I think it's so much more relatable because people, like you say, we're telling it from like this first person perspective, and people
Hmm.
relate to this story, even if we haven't dealt with somebody going through cancer or X, Y, and Z. But we have all been through stuff, And like it's I think it's really dope to see the perspectives of just us. I think it makes our show unique.
Yeah.
It makes our show more powerful, and it really does resonate with me as an actor. So I hope it resonates as much so with our fan base.
It clearly has. It really has. I mean, one thing that I feel like was one of the purposes of doing the show and then doing the show this way, stylistically and structure wise, is to capture the intimacy of a relationship. You know what I mean? So to me, one of the things, with that being one of the main things I wanted to capture super authentically, that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to see anybody else in the show. You know what I mean? I was like, no, it is about them, their world, their feelings. It's almost like just putting them in a cage and throwing in their deepest, darkest feelings, their deepest, darkest fears, their insecurities, like all that stuff in that space with them, locked in there with them, and just seeing how they deal with it. You know what I mean? Or how they don't deal with it. So the intimacy is a big thing for me as far as what I was going for and what I feel like we have been able to capture on a consistent basis.
Absolutely.
Um,
You feel the fear from the characters, like in a lot of unspoken ways, like uncertainty of not knowing what the next scene will give you.
Remember the scene when you guys are in the kitchen and you guys are cooking breakfast together, and then Myron starts having his coughing fit. And one of the things I love so much about that scene is Chad's reaction to it, because he knows this is something that's happening now with Myron, and he knows there's not anything that can be done about it. You know what I mean? So I just felt like how well Rico, tapped into the illness, and then how well Chad, the look on his face, you just can see the fear and the worry on his face. To me, that scene is very palpable. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of my favorites in that first episode. Like, it's a palpable scene. You know what I mean? And it's kind of heartbreaking. And it kind of goes to the heart of. I feel like those kind of scenes are like the lifeblood of the entire show. You know what I mean? When you have a scene like that, it just kind of anchors everything. It kind of pulls you back to reality and be like, damn, like, wow, this feels so real. A lot of people tell us that the show feels so real. No.
Right.
Yeah. Even if you're not dealing with it, you be like, how would I respond in this situation? And I think we portray that very well. Like, the responses are very organic. They're very in shock, in fear, not knowing what to say, but trying to do your best, And like you said, I think I'm just very proud of the story that we tell.
Well, another thing that I love,
and even just for the people.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, so I was just saying, even for, those who may not have had that experience, there are a lot of viewers who do have that experience and who have had that experience. I remember just some of the messages or some of the comments that you would send out in like the groups, and they would be like, "Oh my God, this reminds me of, I just lost my lover, and we had this type of experience, and this is helping me to be able to process a lot of that on a different level." And that itself was very impactful. It was like you're making a difference in the lives of everyday people who can actually identify with what that experience is like.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I remember vividly about that first shoot was the weather in Miami was great that weekend.
Right.
And I remember going to the laundromat late that night. On one of those nights. I can't remember what I had to go like.
Wait, what?
I had to go to the laundromat for something had to be washed. Okay, I don't know. I remember being.
I don't know what extracurricular activities you were into that week. You washed something for us?
There wasn't a washer and dryer in the house.
Okay.
So for some reason I remember being out super late, like 2 or 3 in the morning, having to go to the laundromat for something. But anyway, I think we were washing clothes, or at least maybe I was washing. I don't know.
You probably were.
But I remember the weather being so great, even like that time of night. But I remember us. I remember the scene that we shot on. Like I remember going down on South Beach. So remember we was at the beach, and then we stayed out there filming B-roll shots of CHAD and MYRON just kicking and having fun, being playful. And then remember we walked through South Beach down there, right? And that was cool. And then we went to
went to Wynwood. Did we go to Wynwood? The wall?
We did. That's where the cover shot was from.
Yeah.
Original cover shot was from
Yeah. We shot both times there. Love shooting down there in Wynwood.
That Wynwood is dope. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
We shot remember we went to the live show?
Yeah, the live, the open mic night. Yeah.
Yeah, remember we went there.
That had its challenges, but we made it in and we had a good time.
That was fun. I remember the scene where remember the scene on the beach. Well, remember the scene with y'all. Okay, talk a little bit about the scene when y'all had to eat the what was it? The mango.
The snacks. Oh, the mangoes.
The mangoes.
Yeah, we had to find a location. That was we knew we wanted to go to the beach, but we wanted somewhere that was kind of secluded.
Yes.
Kind of romantic.
Where were we, Rico?
Rico, I don't know what we was.
You know where we were. It was
like a state park or something of some sort.
Yeah, Crandon. We were in Crandon.
Yeah.
Crandon,
yeah.
Crandon Park. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we shot a scene there where you guys had to eat the mangoes. That was cool and interesting.
Sexually eat mangoes. Imply that
I was just about to say that. I was like,
imply that eating this mango meant eating something else.
They were like, what?
we knew that footage was going to show up in another capacity. It was going to have to be like a snippet of something somewhere.
Somebody didn't make a joke of that. You know what I mean?
I will say that's like, we speaking about the mango thing, is that like, that's one thing I had to constantly remember in my head when we do this series, is that I'm in a relationship. And so I have to constantly remind myself that he's my, scene partner, but he's also my life partner. And so I constantly have to always remember to like blow the kiss or touch him on the shoulder. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got the dialogue, what we need to say. Yeah, but it's also a lot of the chemistry that we have to have. Yeah. And so I think that's a big thing, is that we kind of had to develop, and we had a lot of practice with free fall, but we just really went into it, and we do a great job at it. The chemistry is definitely there.
Yeah, because you have to sell it every single frame.
Every single time.
You have to
the scene might not have it right that we need to kiss, but it feels natural to kiss right now. If this is my boyfriend, this is what I would do. Yes. And we do that. Yeah.
Y'all do that y'all do those y'all's instincts in these characters. I mean, at this point, y'all have been playing these characters for almost a decade. Y'all realize that? Mm-hmm. Like, it's been 9 years y'all been playing.
Since 2000.
We are not together in real life. I love Rico to death.
8 years for Rico.
No. I love Rico to death, but we are not boyfriends in real life.
They are not boyfriends in real life.
Okay. At all.
Long relationship.
We are telling a beautiful story. We go through it. But that's my homeboy, and we have a good time together.
At this point, I think the fans know that. I think they had questions in the beginning. I remember answering some questions. I'm like, no, this is fiction. These are actors playing fictional roles. Yes. I think at this point they know that, and I think that y'all's chemistry is what helps sell the show as well. You know what I'm saying? Outside of just the story being, compelling. You know what I mean? But I remember, speaking of like the nonverbal stuff, you remember the scene that we shot on the after we shot the mango scene, we shot a scene on the beach where it was super windy. Remember, it was super windy. Y'all remember? We were standing on the shore. Remember, there was all
these just in the sand.
We had came back. It was like we walked down some rocks.
No,
Yeah,
no. Well, not really.
No. That was later. And I think you're talking about when we were sitting there and we're just kind of talking back and forth.
No, y'all were standing.
And
Y'all were
like
standing
about
up,
what we.
and y'all were
Are we
like,
standing on the waterfront?
Oh,
y'all were
okay,
standing on
yes,
the waterfront.
on the
Remember, it was
waterfront.
windy and the
Right.
trees.
It was just about the
Yeah.
storm.
Yes, it was just about.
It was about the storm.
It was about the
About the storm.
Yes,
I remember.
that's
that.
one of my favorites.
You have some great shots from that too.
Oh man.
Yeah, the shots from that are amazing.
Yes, that's one of my favorite
They're amazing.
moments because I remember the weather felt.
Oh, you're talking about the other beach.
Yeah, we were on a different beach.
Yeah, we a whole different beach.
We weren't far from Crandon.
We couldn't even get sound because it was so windy.
Right.
You wanted us to get sound.
Right.
We wanted us to have
Very much
dialogue.
so.
We had to cut that part.
But remember, it was
because
so pretty out there. It was about
like it was like raining and then it cleared up.
We had sun in the beginning. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah,
I
that was
it.
nice.
I think you put some of that into the trailer. I feel like some of that's part in the trailer.
It's a,
That's
you say you
us
like
standing, like us playing on the beach because we were like, well, since we can't do any dialogue, let's just be real.
Yeah,
playful.
it's in the I made a scene out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
It's like
yeah, you did.
Episode 2. It's in the second Miami episode. It's in episode 2.
It was people everywhere, and y'all don't see that in the show.
Wait. Do y'all remember that there was somebody right next to us? Photo shoot. Y'all remember that?
Doing a photo shoot
right next.
They were doing a photo shoot.
Yeah, she was like her wedding or something.
Yeah.
I think I took a picture of it just because it was like in the middle of the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That was one of my favorite moments because it just felt so good out there, and I just. It's always good when you're filming a cool scene, but then when the environment feels so good, it just, it was good for me. And then one of my other favorites is, y'all remember the pool scene?
I knew you were about to say that. I just knew you were about to go to the pool scene.
Well, I'm talking about the one, not the one that's in. Well, there's one that's in episode 1, and there's another one that's in episode 2 when you guys are on the floaty thing, and y'all are floating,
right? That's
having a conversation. That one.
Having that the Superman. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, we're talking about the fictional character.
Superman, the superheroes, the fictional characters.
Parents and all of that. I really like that scene. Yeah. So
that was dope.
Those are some of my favorite memories of those first 2 episodes. Episode 1 and 2 in Miami. Okay, so let's shift. I know we talked a lot about those, so let's shift. Episode 3 takes us to where, Rico?
Take them outside.
Where were we for episode 3?
Okay.
It's our first.
Where were we for episode 3? It was our first destination trip.
It was our first one for the show.
Wow.
Outside of Miami.
Was San Antonio?
Episode 3.
San Antonio, right?
San Antonio wasn't first, was it?
It was
San Antonio was first. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's right.
It was fine.
You're right.
San Antonio was interesting.
Yeah. What were you gonna say about San Antonio, Joe?
It was interesting because we were really trying to delve deeper into this whole excursion. Like we're gonna go from city to city, so try to tell that story convincingly that we were there. There was a lot of history. We tried to
because it was about
Myron wanting to see the world
and not wanting to be stuck.
Travel the world.
Yeah, not feeling like he was stuck in home, even though we had the perfect life back in Miami. We had the house, we had the beautiful life, but we wanted Myron's wishes were to go see the world.
And he had lost his job.
Oh, did he had lost his job at that point? Yeah, because he was trying to fight to possibly get it back, and insurance was a problem at that point.
In your situation, you weren't sure.
My money,
through.
My trust fund was tied up.
Yeah, so despite that, y'all decided to go travel, and at his wishes. So the first stop was San Antonio. So what was you about to say about San Antonio, Joe?
I was saying, what was I saying about San Antonio? I said it was a lot of San Antonio. We were there was a lot of history. We didn't want. We wanted to educate the viewer just of the country where we go, all these beautiful places, and hopefully as you watch the show, it inspires you to want to go travel and see. I know I watched movies and TV shows. I'm like, I would like to go there. So we definitely wanted to bring in American culture, American history, the sites. That was something we were going to be big on throughout the season. Is when we go to these cities that we were going to show and highlight some of the most memorable or the most beautiful things of each city. So I thought that was really cool.
Right.
We went to the Alamo.
Went to the Alamo.
Yeah, we did a lot of things. It was fun.
Yeah.
The city walk was nice. City walk was nice, actually.
Yeah.
That bridge and everything.
I
think for that episode, what
Yeah.
stood out to me the most about that episode was there you were able to get a chance to get a feel for their non-verbal communications, like in the church, for example. We were kind of just sitting there and
yeah.
There's a lot you can pick up from their energy in that space, dealing with their situations, kind of just understanding what was going on. They were embracing like the culture of it all, but still very well checked into their lived experience, if you will. And so I think just watching it, it was just like, this is real. Like this is what they have to feel. And while they enjoyed themselves, they felt the ambiance and the presence of, what the church brings. But it was a balance that they were still trying to get, understanding what they were dealing with as far as Myron's situation. So
you know what I think of is, I feel like in a sense, maybe somebody could argue that Myron is kind of running away from his problem. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I don't feel like CHAD ever lets Myron like fully run away. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't feel like he ever lets him like run away,
Right.
So there's always kind of like, I feel like this tug and pull, between them. So even if it feels like Myron is like trying not to deal with reality, CHAD always brings that reality back into what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I think you start to see that in that episode, in episode 3 in San Antonio. I remember San Antonio being really hot.
Oh my God.
Really hot.
I was a Devo. I ain't gonna lie. I was a Devo in San Antonio. I was like, this is country. It's hot.
It was hot, but it was nice there. We were there in the summer, I think. And
we went to the Japanese garden. I like the Japanese garden.
I was just about to say that one.
That
was so pretty.
Beautiful. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful. Yeah, y'all were sweating in the scene. Yeah, y'all. I don't know if y'all.
Oh, literally, we were like trying to like douse off in between takes.
Yeah. What else did we do? Remember we went horseback riding?
Yeah. Oh.
That was at.
Did you remember going horseback? So I was on the horse. Rico wouldn't get on the horse, and Lamont was like, "Okay, well, I'll just direct from behind." And then like we started going on the trail, and literally it's like a 1-hour trail.
First
like
of
10
all,
minutes.
I was so determined for us to do a horse riding scene, and but we weren't sure we were gonna find one and fit
Lamont
it.
Was like, it was enough. We can go back there. Like,
it was Lamont by the end of the trail that made the moment. Lamont by the end of it, he was just like,
"Yo, I had sweat. So I had a sweatshirt on, which I always stupidly be on set with sweat. I was about to die."
Yes, director life. He wears sweatpants, sweatshirt, and he walked.
You made it work
like
though.
3 miles.
You made it work.
Yo,
listen.
And I was like, well, I'm
dead of summer in San Antonio heat. I happened to be put on because you guys wore like jeans and like
we were trying to give cowboy feel. I think we had like a hat. He had a hat.
Right.
I had on a sweatshirt, I believe, according to pictures. I had on a sweatshirt.
Listen.
I was having to film y'all while y'all were walking and riding with the horse in this heat.
All I remember was like Lamont's like, first of all, I'm terrified because
I almost died.
You were drenched.
Yeah.
Lamont was drenched. Lamont was like,
he was like, how much further is the course? Like, we're not even halfway there.
And yo,
That shit is hilarious, bro.
Oh my God.
Let alone the journey.
Oh my God.
But then on top of it, I have equipment too. I have a camera that I have to. Yo, it gets tiring holding the camera. Yo,
We have any extra crew on set that time?
Us.
Yeah,
he was with us, but I was the one holding the camera. You know, the camera is like having to hold it up while y'all are just walking for like a half a mile or a mile.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot.
That was a lot, but that was fun. I enjoyed that.
That was.
Yeah, that was something. That was a big deal for us to accomplish that scene. You know, for sure.
I remember
it came out great.
What other scenes did we have there?
I remember they just kept going deeper and deeper into that trail. We were going deeper and deeper, and I was just like, "Don't look like we're turning around, Lamont." Trying to figure it out. Like, when are we gonna get back to the beginning of this thing? That was crazy.
I think it's funny. I don't know if I should really mention this, but like, clearly CHAD and MYRON are in a versatile relationship, and so every episode we try to give a sexual experience in each episode. So when we're on set, it's always like, who's going to be this person? Who's going to be that person? Like, what is it? What's it gonna look like? And I remember this one is when I don't know what we did, but it was alluding to oral sex to a certain extent, and it
wasn't in this episode. This one
was. He pulled my pants down while he was sitting in it, like we danced or something.
But we didn't simulate it in this episode. All he did was pull it down, and then he like kissed your stomach, but that's it. That's all we
allegedly.
No. When you watched the scene, we don't even.
But that's what it goes to.
We don't even have a moment that looks like oral sex in the scene.
Oh.
It's literally like we don't even.
Who else stands in front of someone else and pull their pants down?
But it moved from that.
That scene did.
Yeah, okay. And so we didn't have a moment like that in that episode, but
I'm sure that's what the audience got from it. That's what they pulled from it. I pulled from it, and I was on.
That's exactly what they pulled from it. Because it was the way Lamont did the stills. Lamont did the stills, and it made it look like.
And the stills can be missing.
Listen, no. The stills gave the impression that this is about to be some whole head type. Listen.
And no throw. I barely put out the stills with you guys in like those scenes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I try to save it for the episode. You know?
They love that one. You did a pro one. That was one of them ones you added words to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did what?
I got it.
That you added. That was one of them stills that you added words to. It was like one of them pro. I think I was sitting down and Jovanni was like,
mm-hmm. I remember that. You pulled my pants down.
Exactly. It brought the people in.
Yeah, you gotta watch the episode.
People wanted to know what was about to happen.
Always. We'll see. Okay. Let's say this for 1 second. Okay. Sidebar. I really, really, really don't like putting out the stills that are showing like sexual moments because number one, I'm always thinking about you guys, number one, and number two, and I just try not to put that much out there. If it's going to be out there, I'd rather keep it encapsulated in the episode rather than an image that's just out there,
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
Then two, that's such an easy way to market the show. And it's funny because we just had a conversation about marketing a little while ago. But I hate having to I don't want to rely on that.
On the sex.
Works.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I don't know.
I like that. It's like you take pride in your work. You're telling a beautiful story. Why do we have to diminish our marketing or to the sexual portion of it?
Yeah, I hate because it's
correct.
And
it's also comforting as an actor as well. Yeah, it's also comforting as an actor as well that you take pride in what the product looks like. And
but it's frustrating that's a lot of times what it takes to get people's attention. Even if they do stay and like the show, that gets their attention.
Mm-hmm. It is sad. This is very sad.
But that scene in episode 3, San Antonio, is one of my favorite love scenes of the series. Like, it's so romantic and sensual to me. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like it too.
They just had a conflict, that they were working through. And here's another scene that I love from that episode. When we were going to shoot down on Riverwalk, we shot on top of the parking garage.
We were like kind of
I really like that scene. It's really it's sweet because y'all weren't talking. Myron and Chad weren't talking to each other, and then Myron,
he had pissed me off, correct? Is that we were trying to get my attention?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he pissed you off
because you knew everything about the air conditioner.
Yeah, Myron had said something about his dad. Myron made a comment.
That was AC was like up or whatever, and that whole moment was pretty intense.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty chill, and it kind of got intense. And Lamont was like, "Do that again."
Yeah.
You needed that energy.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Remember when we did the scene where we were eating dinner and we ate dinner in the scene? I think we had Mexican food before we went to Riverwalk. Remember, y'all we shot it in the room. Remember y'all talking stories about exes?
Oh, that was a good scene. And we got into an argument.
No, it wasn't good.
No, we didn't get into an argument then. We were just talking about the ex experience.
And
what was the argument?
Y'all were eating your dinner in that scene.
The argument was after that whole AC moment. After you touched the AC, and I knew you touched the AC.
Oh, okay. That way you said AC. I'm like
this scene. But we shot it the way we shot it. We shot. No, we shot the scene that I'm talking about. We shot it when we came back from shooting at Riverwalk.
We were sitting on the floor.
Yeah, we're sitting on the floor.
In front of the bed.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? We're talking about exes, and we were saying
before we shot the love scene downstairs. We shot this scene, and y'all were eating Mexican food. I remember it. I'll never forget. Y'all
eating. And that, like you said, that was a scene that just.
We were nibbling on Mexican food.
What'd you say, Rico?
We were nibbling on Mexican food.
Yeah, but the scene just reconfirms how close Myron and Chad are, that we were willing to be able to talk about exes. Like it just shows the bond and the connection that they have, because in average relationships you don't get to go and just talk about your past, but these guys are so far into it, and they're so emotionally connected, and they're so in love with each other that nothing is off limits, and these scenes like that show that. And I found out that's definitely powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Myron and Chad, I think one thing that we do show, because, in my opinion, is that a lot of LGBT relationships they're like paper thin. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're paper thin. And I did want to show, and this was intentional with Chad and Myron, I wanted to show a relationship that had a lot of depth. And I feel like through their chemistry, even though we've never had a scene that showed this, I think through their chemistry that Myron and Chad have committed to a commitment that is a thing where nobody's going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's going anywhere. Like, we're here and we're doing this, and so we have an obstacle. We're just gonna have to work through it because nobody's going anywhere. Like, we're so committed to each other that, you know what I mean? And so I think that we do a good job of showing that this demographic, you know what I mean, a relationship with a lot of depth.
I'm hearing an echo.
A relationship that you don't have to. We don't factor in like cheating or issues, those kind of issues. It's just about how these people make their love for each other, because that's all that's on the table. You know what I mean? They don't have to deal with all these other typical exterior issues. You know what I mean? They're kind of like, their relationship has transcended. It's just on a different level of transcendence than the average. And I feel like Myron and Chad, is why I think the show should be bigger. I think the show is an amazing representation of an LGBT relationship. I really do, and I think it deserves to get credit for that. You know,
Absolutely.
Especially doing it on screen, on film.
Yeah,
People aren't doing that.
we're not, and I think every day, like you said, like I fashion my own personal relationships based off of how Myron and Chad interact with each other. And like you say, I just hope that it does get the credit it deserves, or gets the exposure that it deserves, in order to help other couples. Period. Even if you're not going through something traumatic as the cancer, just to see that it's okay to be so in love and be open and figure it out, but to still be committed. And I do like that part.
Before we go to the next episode, what is one thing that y'all feel like? Just pick one thing from the show that you feel like viewers can learn from with Myron and Chad's relationship and how they are with each other.
I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways, and I guess that viewers could learn, was one of the exercises that we did with you, in understanding that people can have arguments and disagreements and it not be so like, and it was like one of those times where you were just like, okay, I want y'all to be able to have, this argument or this disagreement and it not become so, I don't want to say toxic, because I don't think that exists between them, but it can become, volatile, if you will, or just kind of something that'll push you away from the love space. So in learning that and being able to have disagreements and still be in love was definitely a big thing for me. And I think a good demonstration for viewers to be able to see how they could also use that in their personal spaces as well.
Yeah. What do you
I
think?
think a learning point for me is just to not. I think me personally, my own personal life, I'm super calculated. I'm super precise on everything that I do, and I think in the role of Chad, I'm able to just kind of be a little bit more relaxed, be free, kind of go with how you feel. It's okay to be affectionate. It's okay to, rub or touch. Like, I mean, it just kind of opened me up that you don't have to necessarily be so by the book. Like, it's okay. You
More in
can
the
be
moment.
yes, you can
More
definitely be
fluid.
like, forget who you are and just enjoy this moment. And especially when you have something like you say, the time is, you're racing the clock of time. It makes you force yourself to be more in the moment. And I kind of want to bring that to my own personal life. You know, it's great to have everything calculated and have a plan, but sometimes you just have to stop and just really enjoy the moment. Be corny, be quirky, dance, or sing or laugh or cry, wherever it takes. And it's okay, because you should feel safe with your partner. So that's just,
And
I like that.
be in the moment. But one thing I was as an extension to that is losing yourself in the moment. I think that Myron's really good at that. I think Chad sometimes surprises himself at how he's able to lose himself in the moment, because Chad also can be very I think Chad feels like he has to be on top of things for many reasons. He thinks that, but I think sometimes I think he may surprise himself at how seamlessly sometimes he's able to just let go and just lose himself in a moment. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's always kind of beautiful. And one of the things I was gonna say is a takeaway from what people can learn from their relationship is, and it kind of because it ties into both what y'all were saying, but I was thinking about it when Rico was saying your answer about how their conflicts never go but so far. I think the level of respect that they have for each other, that is just always there, because think of all the things that they disagree about. You know what I'm saying? And think of how much each of them compromises from one moment to the next. You're not going to compromise, especially on something that is affecting you or has hurt you or whatever, unless you have respect for your partner. And I don't feel like
Right.
that's another thing that we see a lot of, not even in just relationships in general on screen, like partners who have respect for each other. So just so many times where Chad or Myron wants to say more, but he doesn't because he's considering Chad's feelings. And so maybe he waits for a better moment. Chad does the same thing. There's a respect level that is just always there between them that I like.
That's usually there until we get to Savannah.
Even though Chad has a moment,
until we get to Savannah, then we go there. But it's good to
Chad
know.
Yeah. Deserve is different than.
But you know,
Chad just goes in for the jugular at times.
But you know that when they hold up. I know we're not there yet, but the Savannah episode when they had the argument in the Savannah, do you think that Chad texted Myron to make sure he got home safe that night? Once Chad went back to the bar.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Even if Myron didn't even respond, he didn't go back to the club without making sure, his bae got home okay. He did it. So anyway, their respect level. Okay, so let me push us. Let's go to episode 4. Where were we with episode 4?
Episode 4, where are we at? I don't know. Let's see. Was this Smoky Mountains? This wasn't Smoky Mountains yet.
No.
Something happened.
Smoky Mountains is 5.
Smoky Mountains is 5 before New Orleans.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you guys remember about?
I think that was one of my favorite spaces, though. That was one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
New Orleans was nice. I think the intimate scenes from New Orleans were just so authentic and just kind of just the communication. Because it was random, like the whole cookie dough. that whole. I think we were like on the couch or whatever. But that's
the scene at the end.
Yeah, that's like candid stuff that people would do in their relationships. Like if we all had recorders in our own individual personal spaces, like that would be one of those moments for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that stood out to me about New Orleans is when Chad is, going through his mind, I think it's 1,000 thoughts, and he finds himself in a situation where he realizes that this might not, this is going to be over soon. So like you do need to do some stuff by yourself. Like you do need to figure out who you are as an individual. You're, we 100% Myron all day, every day. And then for the first time, you kind of see Chad do his own thing and try to figure out what that looks like. Who will I be once Myron is no longer? You get those thoughts. You get a glimpse of those thoughts. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was powerful.
I think that's the first instance in the story, in the series, where we see Chad take on that dilemma, because it ends up being a recurring dilemma as we go on. You know what I mean? About, when is it appropriate for me to carve out my time? Should I feel guilty for doing it? You know what I'm saying? And sometimes Myron's pushing him to do that as well. So that's something that Chad continues to walk, the fine line between.
Yeah, I think definitely this is the onset, and as you go further on, you'll see that Chad is trying to think about himself a little bit more as we go further into the series, where it was always like, how does Myron feel?
He doesn't like
what he doesn't, but he's been doing it, and now you kind of see Chad like transition into like a little bit more self-centered. I need to think about me. And what about what I want? I don't want to be here. You start hearing me complain a lot more. Being short, my patience level is not as long as it was when I first found out he had cancer. It's starting to become more of a burden to me, but I definitely still want to support him. But I think that's when that was the big part of New Orleans for me. Is that, Chad really started to change his mindset.
Because Myron was sick that episode.
Right.
Yeah.
You were sick the whole time.
Conversation about at the breakfast table. I think that was probably a really, really non-verbal scene.
Oh yeah,
Myron didn't say much.
Definitely from Myron, because he was just doing a lot of listening.
That was really good.
Yeah, that's
one of my favorite scenes.
That kitchen table scene, one of my favorites.
That table scene was sick.
I just love the New Orleans episode for several reasons. Like that, first of all, the location. That house was was one of my favorite locations that we shot in for the show at all. I just love that house. The house was so eclectic, you know, and it was such a peaceful area that we were in. It was so quiet and peaceful. I just wanted to just stay there.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And then I loved the fact that we got to see Myron, of course, was sick, but we got to see, I don't know, like just seeing what it's like for, I don't know, maybe it's back to that line that Chad walks between wanting to take care of Myron, but then what does he do when Myron doesn't need him? You know what I mean? Or when Myron's resting, what does Chad do with himself? We see that he struggles with figuring out what to do. What do I do with myself when I'm off Myron time? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the fact that Myron was like, go out and see the city. Don't stay in the house just because I'm not feeling well. You know, I think Myron had some sort of surgery or something. And Chad didn't even want to go out without him. You know, and he didn't at first. He stayed in the house. You know what I'm saying? I really, really like those scenes. I like the montages in that episode. What else about New Orleans? And then when we got a chance to actually go out into the French Quarter, or as the French Quarters, as Jovanni says.
The quarters, yes.
French Quarters.
It's more quarter.
Yeah,
quarter.
That was fun.
Several quarters.
I remember being so tired. Remember we were so tired driving out there. Remember we were like almost an hour outside of the city.
We're in Mandeville.
New Orleans. Yeah, we were in Madisonville.
Yeah, Madisonville. Yeah.
And I remember we like driving across the bridge. I always forget the name of the bridge. And then us shooting, and I remember being so sleepy. And I think Jovanni drove us on the way back because I was too tired to drive us back home. But getting those New Orleans shots was cool. You know what I mean? Y'all had some drinks, right? Y'all had some drinks when we went into the one bar. Remember y'all had the tall drink thing?
The hurricane.
The Jester drink. Yeah, the hurricane.
Yeah.
That was cool. We had crab leg. Did we have crab leg? We had seafood.
So that was the big thing. The big thing was, how do we get...
We had to find the seafood.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things that I was like, we have to get that. And
we have to get seafood. We're in New Orleans. We got to have seafood.
We kept trying to track down where we could get them from. And then I forget who did it. Was it Rico that finally figured out the place and we got what we needed?
Who was it?
Almost ran out of time. We almost ran out of time. Do it again? Too. Yeah, but we got it and we got our scene in and we were so happy. I don't even think I got any of the crabs, y'all. I don't think I got
delicious.
I think I don't think
they were good.
Because I think by the time I had a chance to, I think I was too tired and we like went to sleep and then had to get up the next day, you know.
Yeah.
But you went to go film something. Did y'all like drop me off or something? And
we did some Chad on his own stuff.
Was it you or was it Jovanni that went to that one place?
We took the boardwalk. Yeah, we went to go film like Chad alone time.
Yeah.
Chad trying to figure it out. Like Chad's supposed to be in the city by himself.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really want to be, but he's gonna go do it anyway. And how that looks, how that feels.
He went somewhere close by. I think it feels like he.
Yeah, it wasn't far. It was like on those mansions. Remember those big house?
Yeah.
There was some mansions over there.
Yeah. It was so, and the weather was so nice.
The
weather was nice.
Yeah. That was nice.
What else?
We did a ferry ride before we left. Right before we left, we did a ferry.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Didn't we keep missing the ferry when it was time?
I feel like we went to the wrong place. That we were going the wrong place at one point.
Yeah, it was something like that. We went to the wrong place. And, you know, we went and had some pizza and.
Did we go to the casino? Went to the casino, I believe. No.
No.
We didn't walk to the casino. Damn.
No.
I thought we went to the casino.
That's another trip.
Another trip. I've never been to New Orleans. I don't know. I feel like we went to the casino. We was right by it, The ferry was right by the casino, and I probably wanted to go through it. Y'all won't let me. Okay, that's what it was.
It's possible.
That wasn't in the script.
No.
I was like, I want to go to the casino. It's right there.
Okay, so episode 5. Where were we at episode 5?
Smoky Mountains.
Smoky Mountains. What do y'all remember about that shoot? We were in a cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Thing on the wall.
You breaking up? I can hear you.
Breaking up, Rico. What'd you say?
I said the setting was amazing.
Oh, the scenery, it was beautiful. Like, I didn't even
my
realize how beautiful the Smoky Mountains were at all. But it was a more intimate shoot. We went to the city for a little bit, did the moonshine tasting and stuff like that. Lamont, we tried to get the director to drink moonshine. He was like, "No, I'm not gonna drink it."
But I was worried about drinking too much because I was driving us around. So I was, or at least I was driving us around for a little bit of it. But I was concerned about drinking too much. But I still don't even remember. I think you still I think one of y'all drove, or I think you took over.
No, I think you drove.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because remember, we were in Gatlinburg. We went to Gatlinburg to do the moonshine tasting.
The moonshine tasting.
And then we left there, and I think it started to sprinkle. It started to rain a little bit, and somebody drove us from there back to the cabin. But remember, we went back to the cabin. It was like an hour drive from Gatlinburg back to our cabin. And remember, it started to get dark. And then before we got to the cabin, remember we stopped at that restaurant and picked up food? That diner?
Yes, I remember that. That was some little random, that was the closest thing we could find. It was like 8 miles away, but it was the closest thing we could find.
Yeah, remember we had no signal like anywhere.
The people
they don't understand what we do to give them quality show.
Yes. We were somewhere off
no
the grid.
Signal.
We were
off the grid, no phone.
Signal until we got back to the cabin where we had internet. What did you say, Rico?
I said the people were so nice.
Yes.
Like they were just so welcoming and just like, oh, y'all are actors? Y'all are filming?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. I remember that. Remember maybe this was a Lamont thing. I was afraid to go outside once it was nighttime because I thought there would be bears outside.
The bears?
I think that might have been right. It might have been really bears. It was in the middle of the woods.
Bears.
It was a legit cabin with no view. It was just surrounded by trees all the way around. It was no lights, dirt road. You know how it is.
Really huge.
I remember asking
driveway. Remember the driveway was way up, like a big huge hill. And I was scared to drive it because it wasn't paved. It was rocks, and I was like,
it was gravel. It was just like, oh my god, how are we gonna make it?
Yeah.
How was that? I remember asking,
that was fun.
Didn't leave any food in the car. They said if you leave food in the car, you can't be no bears.
No bears.
It was fun, but it was a little exhilarating because you didn't really know if we were going, having it some sort of like random adventure, I remember shooting on the porch and how beautiful it was.
Yep.
There was like a bee out there that was bothering us. And
I was in a rocking chair. I remember that.
Yeah. And then you got to be in the jacuzzi. Remember you got to be in a jacuzzi?
Yeah, it was a jacuzzi on the porch.
I think I really went to sleep.
We got to eat cereal. We had to eat cereal in the episode. We didn't have any milk, so we used moonshine. So on that particular scene, if I slurred my speech any shape, form, or fashion, it's because it was not milk. It was moonshine, and we were putting so it looked like it was some liquid because there was no wall. It was no stores, nowhere to be found, and I wasn't going to do water. I said, "Give me some of this moonshine." I remember it was butter pecan moonshine we had bought. You take home.
It was so good.
It was so good.
I loved it. I love butter pecan.
It was so
I
good.
love butter pecan. That's one of my favorites.
And you guys left me the bottle. Y'all left me the bottle after we were done.
Because we were all on planes and we couldn't.
I know, but I was like, I think I threw it away.
But you brought it to my house.
Oh, I brought it to you. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, later on, like months later, you end up in Atlanta, and I'm like, let me take this moonshine. You don't want it.
I didn't like that one. I didn't like it.
It was so good.
I don't see how y'all did that one.
I think it was delicious. It was delicious.
It was great. It was really, really good for breakfast.
Smoky Mountain, butter pecan, moonshine. If you have it, feel free to send it to the Arthouse. They will make sure I get it. Please, man.
Yes, absolutely.
I love
We
it.
get it.
Absolutely.
Any moonshine y'all want to give me, I'm more than willing to accept. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great. I think we were in Bryson City is where we were, and which was North Carolina, but it's like in the Smoky Mountains. Smoky Mountains covers the border of North Carolina and Tennessee, so
Tennessee,
right there on the line. And so it's a great getaway spot. Like I would totally go back, like you know what I'm saying, and just it'll be a nice romantic getaway spot. So y'all should keep that in mind.
really nice.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. Smoky Mountains. That was a good trip. Remember us driving up the hills? Remember it took us like an hour to get from where the cabin was to the airport. And so remember we had all the wine.
That was beautiful though. Oh my God! And the motorcycles were going past.
Yeah, all the motorcycles.
I naturally recorded that.
I've been all over the world. I ain't gonna lie. And like between that and like A1A in California,
yeah,
they're equally as beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. That is gorgeous.
Yeah, it was
romantic long ride here on the East Coast. Go through the Smoky Mountains. What highway was that? I was in awe.
Smoky Mountains. It's like literally we went directly through the
mountains.
Through the mountain.
You're hot, yeah.
Takes you all the way up to the top and then back down.
Hundreds of miles. They feel like, oh my God, it was just so beautiful though.
Yeah.
If I could rent a motorcycle and do that, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Dangerous too, but you got to be cautious up there.
yeah, it's windy as hell, but it's gorgeous.
Okay. Episode 6. Where were we in episode 6?
Savannah?
Is that Savannah? The ghost town? That's not Savannah?
Nope.
What did we go before? We've been all over the place. Episode 6.
This one
is somewhere up north? It's back to Miami?
Oh, we went back to Miami?
Oh,
back to Miami.
Yeah, we did.
It was a short episode.
Half a day. Usually we do like 2 days or more, but this one was like a 1 dayer that we did this one. And so we met up.
But even when we told a story, we was pretending we was like an hour from Miami. Remember?
No.
We were close to home, but we were not all the way home at some point. We were close. I remember some dialogue somewhere in there where we were close to being home, but not all the way home. And I was like, I like this much better.
Yeah,
why can't all our vacations be like this?
I think that Myron mentions where they are.
You said what?
I think Myron mentions where they are in the dialogue. And y'all were talking about
God. And
because Chad even said it's nice to be back home.
Yeah.
I think he says nice to be home. So basically they're basically home, but they were spending a day out,
Out, yeah.
Yeah.
Home, basically,
yeah. Yeah. So what about that shoot that day? I really loved that shoot because we were at this secluded kind of beach area. I don't remember the name of it, but I liked it because there was barely anybody there. So it was like we had the park almost to ourselves. And again, great weather that day. You know what I mean? I can remember you guys not wanting to get in the water.
It was cold.
It was cold.
And I had to coax you guys in there. I said that I would get in there too, which I did.
Yeah. And it was freezing cold.
It was cold.
I don't remember.
I don't think it was
super cold.
It was like probably like it wasn't hot.
The
it
water
was like 60,
was cold,
70
though.
degrees.
Yeah, but the water
was cold.
Okay. I don't remember the water being cold, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but we got some great shots.
We did, but you got in the water with us. We were like, we're not getting in unless you get in.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got in like your jeans or something.
Got my jeans. So it's cool. We got some beautiful stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of my favorite shots from the show is from that shoot, and that was us laying on the table.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Laying on the table. We're talking about God.
Yeah, talking about God. Yeah,
the sunlight. It was like
you were questioning
That was great.
And they were questioning like if God was real and if this is your
Mhm.
destiny, should you be dying? And if you were dying, like when God saved me? And
Where is he? Like, what's going on?
yeah,
Yeah,
you was off the wall with that, and Chad wasn't here for
Chad was
that.
not having it.
Chad come from a lineage of pastors.
Don't say that.
A lineage of who?
They're gonna be like, oh, I didn't know that.
I'm just joking. Yes, don't do that. Attorneys and pastors all running the
Yeah,
family.
Chad didn't like all that blasphemous talk, you know what I mean?
At all.
He didn't like that. And then remember when we finished shooting at the park, we got a lot of beautiful footage at the park. And then we went back. Remember we stopped at the liquor store before we got back to the house? We stopped at the liquor store, picked up some drinks.
Why is this so funny?
I'm
We're all adults.
Face. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But we picked up some drinks and then we went back to the house.
Back to Rico's house.
Some more. We shot some more.
Yes, and that's when I was sexually frustrated and he was not trying to do it, and I was pissed. Oh, I was so pissed.
Yes.
I thought he was my real boyfriend, and I was like, oh, this is some bullshit. I really feel like I'm like, really? You would not want to?
He
left
Chad on the wall.
And then he tells me that I can go get somebody else.
Myron,
I'm like,
Myron,
this is what we evolved to? Like, I can go be with somebody else. Okay, you go find some other boy. I know I'm not gonna be here long. Like, yeah, that was a lot.
But I think that was so real of Myron, just in kind of understanding what, what is it going to be like for you? Like, and not having you just kind of just dive in and kind of be stuck in losing this person you were like in love with. Like,
and I think
kind of just weigh all the options and figure out what it would be like for you and truly wanting you to be happy.
And I think, I think that's beautiful, and I think that's the first time you see what Chad really hasn't thought about something,
right?
And that you're thinking about. So it's like the roles kind of reversed in this time, and so Chad is really caught off guard because he's never really thought about that part, And to know that you have, just kind of it was groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking. It was a big moment.
I don't think even from just I don't think it was that Myron didn't want to. It was just he was so shut down.
He couldn't
on the inside and what
everything
looked like. It was heavy, and I think you could really clearly see that. And Lamont, you did an amazing job at just kind of capturing those moments, the intensity of it in the beginning, and then it just kind of going out.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very the conversation that y'all have after Myron's not willing to go further, with the moment. Because I think that Myron does not want Chad to sit and like have the rest of Chad's life be ruined because Chad is sitting sad and bitter after Myron's gone. I don't think Myron wants Chad to live that way after he's gone. So even though Chad is not thinking of who he might be with after Myron is gone, Myron is clearly thinking about it. He doesn't want Chad to deprive himself after it's over. You know what I mean? And that's a very selfless thing of Myron. Like he wants Chad to keep going and living his best life. And Chad,
Chad is resistant to that whole concept. Like, why would you think like that?
Yeah. And I think Chad would struggle with, even if he eventually got there, it would probably take him a long time without Myron's blessing or his urging. I think Chad wouldn't really be thinking about, and I think Chad would like go into a dark space and stay there for years and years after Myron is gone, as opposed to going and picking up his life and keeping it moving after Myron is gone.
Absolutely.
That was a good moment.
Especially when Chad had been through a lot. You know what I'm saying? Chad has no one. At this point, no father, no mother. A lot of things have happened. He's finally found his soulmate, and he feels like he's gonna lose him. So at the end of this, Chad's not gonna be excited at all. He's gonna be in a dark place for sure.
He doesn't want to start over, with anybody else. Okay, episode 7.
Definitely Savannah.
Savannah, yeah, it was Savannah. So, what do y'all know about shooting in Savannah, which was another 1 day shoot?
We did that. We did that though. I ain't gonna lie, we did that. We did that. I drove back. We did that. I was like, I gotta leave. Savannah was dope. Savannah's beautiful. You know, we got to see it in a different light that I normally don't get to see it in. We really hit home on some major topics like the money,
credit card,
the animosity. Yeah, the credit cards was being declined. We were running out of money. We wasn't telling each other that we were running out of money. It was a lot of secrets kind of came to the light. I guess there was a little bit of animosity because I had called, hey, you being sick, you holding this against me, not allowing me to just have fun. And Rico was not happy about that
at all. At all.
Tapping
into Myron's control. Naturally, like you said.
Tapping into Myron's control issues. Trying to control Chad's.
Oh yeah, how you want everything to be your way, and we gotta do it your way, otherwise no way.
It wasn't so much about that. I don't think Myron really wanted it to be his way. I think he was just a bit overprotective and trying to manage, your issue.
You had me doing ghost tours. I don't like ghost tours. You had me doing stuff. I was just really going into you had me doing a lot of stuff I don't want to be doing. And I think this was the first episode, and I was really adamant about I'm not happy. This is what I want to do, and you won't let me do it.
Right.
And you won't do it with me.
And you won't do it with me.
But did you understand where Myron was coming from, though?
Of course.
Do you think Chad understood where Myron was coming from, though?
I think Chad was sick of it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the point. I'm
always had where Myron is coming from, and he usually acquiesces to whatever Myron is feeling for many reasons because he feels obligated to, and then his love for Myron, you know what I mean? But that particular day, I think if it wasn't Chad's birthday, then it would have went Myron's way.
Then it would have.
I was like, no, it's my birthday. This is I'm putting my foot down, and yeah.
I think I remember telling y'all, even in that scene, I think I was like, oh my God, I had a lived experience and the roles were reversed. It was like, I remember being and celebrating my birthday, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so crazy because I just lived this. I just was really trying to have fun on my birthday.
That was based on a true story.
It was beyond. I said, Lamont, you must have something. You're looking into my life. This can't be.
I just want to have fun on my birthday. That's it.
I remember how much I enjoyed exploring their I don't know what they call it, but remember we were in downtown Savannah. It was like the bar hop, the bar stroll. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Especially when it was dark. I just really enjoyed us down there getting that footage and walking down there, and it wasn't as many people. It was nice. The weather was nice, and it just felt really good. You know what I'm saying? I remember that. I remember earlier in the day, in the afternoon, this footage didn't make the show, and I'm trying to remember if we even got footage at all. If we were just taking selfies over there. But remember the park? Remember the first part where we parked at, and it was around all these houses, the houses, and there was this open area for a park where people bring their dogs to. Remember we were sitting on the benches and stuff? Y'all remember that?
Oh, okay. It was like the open area.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, it was just nice.
Oh, wow, I didn't even realize that didn't make. You said that didn't make it in. It was like the house.
We shot footage.
It was like a street, a side street.
Yeah, I don't think we shot footage there, but we shot selfies.
Yeah, I do remember that. We did take pictures.
We were transitioning, or some reason why we didn't get footage there.
I remember the owner of the house pulled up and was like, "What are you doing?" It was a big mansion. We were in front of that big house, like a mini version of the White House. Gorgeous home in the top of the episode.
The opening.
He's like, "What are you doing? You recording my home?"
The opening thing, but he was joking with us, right?
No, he was serious. That was his home.
I don't remember.
He was like, my home's been on TV. You don't just come and film my house.
He was serious.
Yes, we were parked in his spot. Yeah, it was parked in his space or something
He
like
was
that.
serious.
He was very serious. Don't film my house.
Hold on,
We were done by that point, though.
It can't. We must be talking about two different houses because that
Go watch
first
Savannah.
house,
The opening scene.
behind the gate.
That was the first scene.
That was
the very
it.
first
We
scene.
weren't the only ones there taking pictures of it.
And he came. He was trying to park, and we was parked in his spot of some sort. And he was like, "Don't park on this side. This is my home." He wanted to know what we were recording.
I don't even remember. I must have blocked it out. Because
Mm-hmm.
I remember there being other.
You were going to get the shot. Lamont said, "I'm going to get the shot."
Yeah, he was like,
maybe that's
what he
why I
said.
blocked it out.
I'm gonna go across the street and shoot it.
I must have blocked it out because I didn't care.
Let me change the lens. Let me get the wide.
That's what I said.
Y'all stay right there. I'm gonna go over here.
Almost finished.
We were almost finished. We were done.
So we
were close, but he walked up and was like, "What are y'all filming?" Okay. I was like, "Your home is beautiful." It was the whole home was stone. Everything was stone. The whole house.
It was a gate around the whole thing.
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't remember him, but I remember.
No, he was upset. He was wondering why we were over there. Why are you in front of my house taking video?
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
See, a beautiful, cruel thing almost gets you killed. Almost get you killed.
Almost gets killed. What else about that's going to, I guess the other part is going to the
ghost stuff,
the ghost scene and seeing the ghost. Those were must have been like real reactions from Jovanni. But I had fun. We were out there that night seeing the hearse driving around.
That shit is not cool.
And the ghost tours going on, and I love that kind of architecture. I love that Southern style, that colonial style architecture, and then the fact that Savannah has such a rich history with the ghost and all that stuff. I just was getting a kick out of it.
I was over it. I was like, I'm ready for this to be over. Can we get the shot? Let's leave. They talking about ghosts.
I was loving
People
it.
are really walking through graveyards. I don't play.
Peaceful.
It was a bit. It was a bit weird.
I don't play with the devil.
The setting was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was good.
Yeah, nice. I liked it, and it was close to the university, so there was like college students like always passing through that area, and I was it felt kind of like a college, in a sense. So yeah. Okay, so then episode 7, Savannah, and then we didn't have a new episode. We weren't back on set for like over a year. Over a year.
Because of COVID?
Even a year and a half. And then when we finally came back to shoot after quarantine, we went to Portland.
Portland
is the season finale of season 1. So even though that's super recent, what are y'all's memories of Portland? Well, okay, this is my first big memory, is the fact that Rico's flight got screwed up. He got stuck in Charlotte. So me and Jovanni were like hanging out the night before, waiting for him to get there, and then he wasn't going to get there until the next day.
I took Lamont to Benihana's.
Yes.
So he had never been to he's never been to any hibachi restaurant, which I don't understand why that's a sin. I love hibachi. So I was like, let's go to Benihana's. He was like, where is it at? I don't understand what to order. I'm like, order this. He's like, it's okay. I was, but no, we went to Benihana's and we tried to enjoy the evening. We had fun. He thought it was overrated. I'm like, this is the best thing on earth.
But I enjoyed myself that night because we don't often get nights off when we're on location filming somewhere. Yeah. We usually everybody gets in or flies in or whatever, and then we start, And so that was like a rare instance where we got the night off, and I just enjoyed spending time with Jovanni that night. I just enjoyed.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was a bonding time. I want more of that.
And we hadn't seen each other because of the quarantine, and we hadn't been filming. So it was
it was real adamant on wearing the mask, and it was right when stuff was lightly lighting up, like it was capacity and all that other stuff. But we made the best of it, and then the next day you came in, but you still was kind of late coming in, right? We had to still make some more runs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what time you got in.
That was a very very, very challenging.
Yes, it
Tell
was.
us what happened.
Oh my God. Like, first of all, I got there early for my flight. That was one thing. And yes, like you said, it was early in COVID. People were just kind of conscious about people wearing masks. It was this dude who just wanted to rebel about wearing a mask. They ended up holding a flight. It was a mess. Like they ended up letting him on, and then next thing you know, some marshals were coming to get him. It was horrible.
That's tremendous.
Just horrible. And then once he got off, we ended up sitting on the flight for like 2 hours, realizing that we were not gonna take off. And then they deboarded.
Wow. Was it his fault that y'all didn't take off?
You were in Charlotte.
Huh?
You were back to Charlotte.
Yeah, made your first flight with your second flight.
You made your first flight, and the Charlotte one got grounded, and so you had to wait until the next day. The guy made y'all miss that flight out to Portland.
Oh, that's true. He was coming from Miami, yeah.
Yeah.
Because of that nonsense, when you got to Charlotte, it was too late. Your the Portland flight was already gone. Damn.
Yeah.
Got to be more careful.
Horrible.
Yeah. Stop flying Spirit, honey.
And even
I don't remember.
Fly Delta.
American.
I like Delta for a personal reason. I don't know why, but Delta's my airline of choice, so I think you should always fly Delta.
It was wasn't it like American or something?
It probably was American.
It was American.
It probably was American. I'm talking shit.
So then once you got to,
it was just a simple fact. Even them putting us in a hotel, I mean, I was only gonna be there for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like I literally slept 3 hours. Get a shuttle and then head back to the airport in order to make the flight from Charlotte and then head out.
That was a lot.
And then get there and still be tired because I really didn't sleep.
Yeah, you were tired. Yeah, you were tired.
I was exhausted.
Yeah.
That was probably the roughest.
Portland was reminding me of the Smoky Mountains, how beautiful it was.
Yeah,
Portland was gorgeous.
Oregon is not beautiful driving in, though. Driving into Oregon, it wasn't. I was like, this is ugly.
You hear about Portland, through basketball and stuff, but to date, that might have been one of my top shoots because it was just so beautiful. From the pumpkin patches, just the trees.
Yeah,
like it you really have to see it in person to appreciate the beauty. And I know we kept trying to take photos and we were trying to shoot by the waterfall, but it just it was nothing like being there present in that moment. Right. I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
by far.
Yeah, for the waterfall, we did we went out on, I think on day 2 or day 3, we went out and to the farm area and we did the pumpkin patch, and then we did with all the flowers and all the all that. It was real beautiful.
Yes.
And then we did the
the riots had just ended. A lot of the Black Lives Matter movement was really, really big.
I also think just with regard to the people, I think just the type of people who was around and kind of just embracing the space, it was really, really, it made the experience of filming so authentic. Like,
Portland had
signs and all that type of stuff.
We were in downtown Portland. Portland had this energy because so many of the riots and the demonstrations had happened in Portland. And Portland was where the action had been. And to go down there and kind of be in some of that energy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, people were still actively protesting.
Yeah, people
actively protesting, actively looting, vandalism, it was boarded up.
Quiet. There wasn't a lot of people out there. It was quiet, but there was still they still had the Black
you could see,
and had random people but we kept remarking on how the energy of Portland just felt like nothing that we had been around lately. You know what I mean? I never felt an energy like that in a city. Definitely not, especially not downtown.
Right.
So yeah.
I remember seeing several people that we assumed were without a home, and no one asked me for money. They were really what are you guys doing? Yeah. They really wanted to have a conversation.
Yeah.
It was refreshing for real. It just made me think of humanity in a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? I really did enjoy Portland, if anything, I want to go back. It's beautiful.
I would go back to
Portland. It was one.
I would definitely go back.
Definitely.
I wouldn't drive there again personally.
No, I'm
always
driving
drive
nowhere.
it.
No, Portland's gorgeous. We should definitely do another Portland, like, even if it's just for vacation. Portland, y'all need to put Portland on y'all map. Don't sleep on Portland. Portland is gorgeous. The downtown. We sat on the bridges. I mean, even like you said, people playing the drums and stuff. Everyone was cordial. I would love to see Portland when it's wide open. You know, I would love to go back. I want to go back to Portland. If you're in Portland and you're trying to have a beautiful, cool thing come out, let us know. We coming out. We'll do a quick appearance. Show us the city. Let's have a good time. Portland, where you at?
Yeah, I would have loved another day in Portland.
Yeah, Portland was everything.
Portland was dope. Okay. Well, that is the recap of all the episodes of season 1. Of course, we are now in season 2, so we've released episode 1 of season 2, which was Boston. So we hope that you enjoyed our recap and all of our stories and anecdotes of the first 9 episodes. It's actually 10 episodes because episode 9 is a 2-parter of Portland. But we hope you've enjoyed our recap and kind of, got a sense of what it's been like filming the show thus far. And we still have a whole other half of the show to shoot for you guys and present to you guys that we're really excited. We love shooting the show and traveling and all that. And we can't wait to hear what you guys think of the next set of episodes from The Beautiful Cruel Thing. So
it's right there on top of the refrigerator.
That's all I got. Okay.
Well, I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching so far. We appreciate the support and the love, and it has been nothing less than amazing to shoot this project for you guys. I've learned so much. I think Rico, my scene partner, has learned so much, and we hope you learn a lot from our story. It's a very compelling story. It's a very sensitive story, but it's a very true story. And I think we all can relate to it. So we're just excited to see where the story goes. We got some surprises coming up. I'm excited to show you guys. I'm just happy to be able to be a part of this project. I thank Lamont for bringing his creative juices to us. Thank you for allowing us to be actors on your project. And you guys just wait and see. It's about to be amazing, for real. So that's all I can say.
Definitely. Echoing the sentiment of our great Lamont, my co-star, my partner in crime here, Jovanni. Definitely appreciate the opportunity and just what it is that we're being able to produce to you, for you all, and just enjoy, sit back, relax, and get ready.
And if you haven't seen episode 1 of season 2, I need you to go watch it. We have stepped the bar up. It's hard to go up from where we at, but this first episode, we give you so many different layers of the relationship, of the things that we're going through, and the way they portray the story is beautiful. It's one of my favorite episodes to date. So please go watch season 2, episode 1, Boston. It's amazing. Make sure you have your surround sound on. I need you to dark room, surround sound, popcorn, tissue. That's all I got to say. Have your tissue. We are about to really resonate in your heart. You're going to love us, hate us, all of the above, want to be us, want to stay away from us. It is an amazing episode, and we are going to continue to give you episodes like that. So we hope you love it. And we just like, comment, share. Let us know how we're doing. That's what we're here for. We're here for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the show. We will see you later. You'll be seeing more from us throughout season 2. Good night.
The countdown continues.
And cut. Okay.
Yes. I do what I can.
You guys liked episode?
Like
the Boston episode?
No, the Boston episode. I want to have a screening for it. It's my favorite episode.
Okay.
Legit. I actually do it in Atlanta and invite all my friends.
What did you like about it?
Told you that. I told you, Lamont. As soon as I saw it, I was just like, "This is my favorite one."
Where do we start? It is so dramatic. but it's so pure. And it's like I watched it like, wow.
Every level of emotion.
It's like from him remembering my childhood, that was huge. From the pictures of what you would give me when we weren't there, from Chad breaking down, he's never broken down. It's just from Myron being alone. He never been alone. Like it was just, it was so, you fucked the season. I'm happy you made season 2. That was dope. The way we opened it, from the musical scores to everything, like it was an amazing episode. And so I really feel like we really gotta, like, we're not playing going forward.
But see, that's what I feel like I should maybe put out. I've been thinking about this the past few weeks, but I hadn't made up my mind. I was like, I feel like maybe I should, even though I don't want to, but maybe put out a shorty version of the Boston episode on YouTube.
Okay. Well, let me see what it looks like. But no, I want to, like, literally have a screening for the episode 1. Like, even if we just, like, hold a shorty or for later that needs to be something huge. Like, that will draw people. Like,
it was great. It was great. And like you said, the musical
I was emotional. I was watching it like
you could not.
I was
not catch the moments of each of their individual experiences, and again, their experiences together.
Yes, even from dancing in front of each other in the costumes. It was like, you were like, you really felt for them. This is why my shit keep falling. I'm sorry.
I was about to say,
no, but you really felt for. I did. It's the thing is got a slant, but no, you really felt for them. You really feel for them. It's like you can see
the first scene.
You see the joy underneath the pain. You can see the layers.
Yeah, it was
like
you
can see, like, it's deep. You like, oh wow.
Yeah, it was.
Something's happening, and it's really about to happen, and it's it's unraveling in front of our face. He's leaving. He's coming back. He's alone. We're bringing up memories from the past. It made you feel everything. It made you smile, laugh, cry, and I feel like that was a real complete episode. Like you say, like Rico, it was levels. It took you through every emotion, that episode, and it ended. And it left you. It ended perfectly as well. Like you just want more. It made people want more.
The ending is like, that ending is.
Yeah, it was a beautiful episode. It was. I don't know how you come up with these ideas, but you do it. Hats off. This is the episode that we need to, like, really fucking push.
I mean, we always shoot out of order.
We mostly shoot in order. We mostly shoot in order, but then there are times where we jump around. But with Boston, we were all over the place. Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah,
we did.
And it was so fucking cold. Oh, freezing cold outside. He took me to Boston in February. What kind of shit is that? I will never go back to Boston. No, I'm be like, off the calendar. I'm unfortunately.
I was looking for snow. But I was like,
yes.
Oh man.
I regret to inform you that I am not available.
Are you gonna block the?
I tell you,
I would not be flying.
And then I had to pee so bad. I remember I had to pee and I couldn't go to the bathroom. I had to go behind the trash can. Let's do season 2 recap. Come on.
Oh, wait. We lost you. While you.
Yes. Left me for dead.
Wait.
I was over.
Lamont kept turning down all these one-way streets.
I was like, I'm gonna just walk back to the statue because clearly you're not coming to get me. And then I was like, let me just call it Uber.
Where are you?
It was the worst.
And then Lamont was like, we're almost there. He kept saying we're almost there.
Never again. February, Boston in February is gonna be my next show.
Lamont was like, we're almost there. Just tell him we're almost there.
You tried to kill me. I was dead. Lamont tried to leave me for dead.
We were in the car shooting and way lost in the street. We kept turning down.
I had to go pee behind a trash can.
Wait, once we got to the train tracks, I said, Lamont, I don't think we're near him anymore. Lamont was like, tell him we're almost there. We're gonna turn right.
Lamont is a liar.
We're gonna run into so many one-way streets.
Like
the whole thing.
I'm like, first off, I was like, okay, so they're not gonna call. I'm like, so I'm just gonna sit here and no one's gonna call. I was like, let me just start. I can see the monument right there. Let me just walk to the monument. So I'm walking to the monument, and they're like, oh, where? Like 10 minutes later, where are you? I'm like, I'm around the corner where you dropped me off. I didn't think y'all was gonna pull off. Oh my God. But it was okay. Then we get over there and it's freezing fucking cold. And he's like, let me get this shot. Let me get this shot. Mind you, I'm mad I got left. Let me get this shot and let me get this shot.
When we went to the Airbnb first.
No, truth be told, when we made the turn though, it took us in the opposite direction. So Lamont had the right idea. It was just as soon as we made the turn, we realized that it was taking us farther away from you. And then we had to get out of that trap.
We had to get out because it was designed real weird.
Yeah. I'm never ever gonna fucking go anywhere with y'all again. I'm like,
just tell me the names of the streets. What's the corners?
That shit was crazy. And then we was hungry. It was a lot.
Oh shit.
It was a whole lot, but it worked out.
Y'all got me crying.
He left me.
I was like, he gonna get in this car. He gonna be pissed.
Oh, baby. I had to I've grown. I had to had to find my Zen place.
I forgot.
I'm like, he done left me across the street from the project. I was doing the project.
The mom was like, he about to get in his car. Let's see what this is gonna go. We're probably done.
And I didn't. And I was very cool, calm, collected. I was like, the show will go on. I've grown. I pat myself on the back sometimes. Because
Lamont said we're done shooting today, pretty
much. The day in my head, the day was over. But I said, you know what? Be bigger than that. Be bigger than yourself.
Listen, in almost a decade, you've grown.
For sure. Didn't we get some food after that?
I've grown tremendously. Did we get food after that? I don't know. Thank you, friend.
That was funny.
Listen.
That was funny right there.
Was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Funny.
I was livid. I come back like, where they at?
Listen.
I didn't know we was gonna pull off.
Listen.
But we didn't. No.
How long did you think my dick was?
I was just trying to go. Wait. I was just trying to circle.
Lamont really was trying to get back to you. He was. But it was a trap.
I almost got attacked by like several people and several dogs. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. He's like, oh, you at the pizza restaurant? You gonna grab pizza? I was so mad. I was so over it. I'm at the pizza restaurant we passed 10 minutes ago.
But you had to pee at that moment.
Yeah, you had to pee.
Oh, no. I was about to piss on myself.
We all had to pee, but you had to pee the worst.
We did.
Yeah. I had to pee before we left the tombstones and shit. The witch project. I had to pee over there.
Oh my God.
I had to pee way back over there. So we done drove an hour and now you're talking about let's take it. I said I need to pee.
Wait, but